They say Italian food in America means red sauce and meatballs, but in 1910's Little Italy, it was something else entirely. Survival cooking that stretched pennies into meals, transformed scraps into sustenance, kept families alive in tenement darkness. Picture this. It's March 1912, Mulberry Street, New York City. 6 people sharing 2 rooms, factory wages barely covering rent, your children's stomachs growling. Flour, water, whatever, vegetables the pushcarts sold cheap at closing time. These weren't the recipes tourists eat today. These were immigrant survival foods, dignity cooked into every bite, despite poverty pressing from all sides. Settlement houseworkers documented these meals. Tenement inspectors recorded these kitchens. Today, I'm taking you back. When Italian cooking in New York wasn't about authenticity or tradition. It was about feeding your family on almost nothing. Stay with me. These 25 forgotten dishes tell the real story of Little Italy's survival. Number 1. Pasta e fagioli. Before Ellis Island, Sunday gravy with pork and beef in Campania villages. After arrival, beans and broken pasta in tenement kitchens. Immigration rewrote every family recipe. December 1911, when Maria Russo's husband's factory wages dropped to $4 weekly, her children needed protein. Meat disappeared from their table. But dried beans lasted months, cost pennies per pound. She soaked cannellini beans overnight in their one cooking pot, not the fresh borlati from her mother's garden. Dried American beans. Necessity made them Sunday dinner. Maria boiled the beans until tender, added water to stretch the broth. She broke leftover pasta by hand, whatever shapes the corner store sold cheapest that week. The pieces simmered in bean liquid, absorbing earthy flavor, softening into tender bites. During the 1910s mass migration, Italian families needed cheap protein sources. Beans provided nutrition when meat was luxury. This dish became daily sustenance across Little Italy's crowded tenements. Mothers taught daughters this formula for survival. Humble beans becoming rich, filling stew, boiling water creating thick, starchy comfort. This represented more than nutrition. It meant maintaining dignity when America offered only hardship. Each spoonful carried the weight of transformation. Maria's recipe spread through Elizabeth Street tenements, kitchen wisdom traveling faster than rent collectors. Pasta e fagioli, sustaining thousands from Mulberry to Mott Street. Every family adapted it. Some added tomato if they could afford it, others just beans and pasta. Every bowl carried a message. Poverty doesn't erase culture. Survival simmers tradition into new forms. Home tastes like whatever keeps your children fed. Number 2. Pane Raffermo soup. Stale bread and water. That's it. Maria Lombardi tore yesterday's bread into rough chunks, dropped them into boiling water. She added a precious tablespoon of olive oil, the only fat in her kitchen that week. Salt from the box, a crushed garlic clove if she had one. The bread softened, absorbed liquid, swelled into something filling. Giuseppe Lombardi made his first batch on Hester Street, January 1913. 5 children, 2 rooms, his cobbler shop barely earning rent. His soup fed them 3 nights straight when nothing else remained. In 1913, when bread went stale after one day in humid tenement air, families couldn't waste anything. Stale bread became soup base, stretched with water and olive oil. This dish meant survival when cupboards held nothing fresh. Boiling water softened hard crusts. Oil created richness where none existed. Simple alchemy, providing full stomachs from yesterday's leftovers. Fast cooking meant less coal burned, saving money for rent. Giuseppe's bread soup spread through Baxter Street tenement basements. Emergency recipe becoming standard practice. Women shared variations, some added beaten egg, others vegetable scraps. Whatever extended the poverty. Simplicity sustains life when abundance fails. Resourcefulness boils stale bread into nourishment. Survival transforms yesterday's waste into today's sustenance. Water becomes soup when necessity demands it. Would you have eaten bread soup 3 nights straight to keep your family alive? Drop a comment. I'm reading every one. Number 3. Pasta al pomodoro. Before leaving Italy, rich meat rag with hours of simmering. After Mulberry Street, canned tomatoes with garlic. Little Italy rewrote the sauce. August 1914, when fresh tomatoes cost more than Rosa Vitale's daily wages at the shirtwaist factory. Her family expected pasta every night. It was culture, identity, survival. But tomatoes were luxury now. Then she discovered canned tomatoes at 2 cents per tin. She opened the American tin, suspicious of factory food. Now her mother's San Marzanos picked at peak ripeness. Metallic, watery tomatoes. Desperation made them sauce. Rosa heated olive oil in a smallest pan, dropped in sliced garlic until fragrant and golden. She poured the canned tomatoes straight from tin. No straining, no fussing. They bubbled and broke down, releasing acidic sweetness. She added a pinch of sugar to balance the tin taste, salt to deepen flavor. The sauce reduced, thickened, coated a wooden spoon with red that looked almost right. During the 1910s, canned goods revolutionized immigrant cooking. Tomatoes preserved in tins meant year-round sauce without depending on expensive fresh produce. This adaptation allowed families to maintain Italian identity through pasta despite American poverty. Fresh tomatoes were sweet, bright, alive with summer. Canned tomatoes were dull, acidic, metallic on the tongue. But canned tomatoes cost pennies and lasted months. Adaptation tastes different than tradition. Survival demands flexibility. Rosa's quick tomato sauce spread through every tenement kitchen. Women traded tips. Add basil if you find it. Use the liquid in the can. Don't waste drops. After World War I ended, many kept using canned tomatoes. Convenience and economy merged into new tradition. Every spoonful carried a message. Culture adapts or disappears. Tradition lives in the spirit of a dish, not the exact ingredients. Immigration transforms everything, even sauce. Number 4. Polenta with nothing, yellow cornmeal and salt. Nothing else. Teresa Conti boiled water in her largest pot, whisked in cornmeal slowly to prevent lumps. She stirred constantly for 30 minutes, the only way to make it creamy without burning. Her wooden spoon scraped the bottom, creating smooth, thick porridge that stuck to ribs despite containing no butter, no cheese, no meat. Antonio Conti made his first batch in their Bayard Street apartment, March 1915. 3 children under 5. His construction work sporadic through winter. Cornmeal cost less than bread, filled stomachs longer. This polenta fed them for 2 days when wages disappeared. In 1915, when northern Italian immigrants needed cheap calories that lasted, cornmeal provided bulk and energy from minimal investment. Polenta became breakfast, lunch, dinner, when nothing else existed. Survival food, masquerading as cultural tradition. Constant stirring created creamy texture. Cornmeal absorbed water, swelling into golden mass. Simple process providing dense nutrition. Quick cooking over low heat stretched limited coal supplies. Antonio's plain polenta spread through northern Italian households on Elizabeth Street. Lombardy and Veneto families recognized this poverty food from the old country. War in Europe made everything scarce. Polenta sustained them like it sustained their grandparents through famine. Polenta with cheese and meat is comfort. Polenta with nothing is survival. But survival fills bellies when pride won't. Necessity softens cornmeal into sustenance. Stirring transforms grain into life. Number 5. Spaghetti aglio. Olio spaghetti. Garlic, olive oil. 3 ingredients, defining survival, elegance. Giovanni Marconi heated his best olive oil in a shallow pan, sliced 6 garlic cloves, papering. They sizzled golden, releasing sharp aroma that filled his 2 rooms, made his children think dinner would be rich. He tossed boiled spaghetti directly into the garlic oil, no draining, letting pasta water create silky sauce. Salt, pepper, if he had it, nothing more. Anna Marconi watched her husband make this on Kenmire Street, November 1916. Factory strike meant no wages for 3 weeks. Their pantry held only pasta, garlic, oil. This dish appeared nightly because these 3 things lasted when everything else vanished. During 1916 labor strikes, Italian families needed meals from non-perishable staples. Pasta, garlic, and oil stored indefinitely without refrigeration. This combination meant eating well despite economic warfare between workers and factory owners. Garlic transforming from raw sharpness to sweet nuttiness, oil coating every strand of pasta with richness, starchy pasta water binding everything into glossy, clinging sauce. Simple chemistry, creating luxury from poverty ingredients. Giovanni's aglio, olio, spread through striking workers, families on Mott Street. the picket line recipe becoming symbol of resistance. They weren't starving, they were eating their culture, despite bosses trying to break them. Food as defiance. Simplicity can be elegant. Poverty can taste like dignity. 3 ingredients create satisfaction when cooked with care. Survival sizzles garlic into gold. If you're still watching, you're tougher than most. Hit like if these survival stories hit different. Number 6. Lentil soup. Before leaving Calabria, lentils with sausage and fresh herbs. After New York, lentils with water and salt. America simplified everything. February 1917, when Carmela Bruno's husband joined the American Army. His soldiers' pay came monthly, irregularly, never enough. Her 3 children needed daily protein. Lentils cost 3 cents per pound, required no soaking, cooked fast. She poured dried lentils into boiling water, watching them tumble and settle. Not the small brown lentils from Calabria. Large green American lentils. War made everything different. Carmela added 1 carrot, if she found one cheap, a piece of onion from the pushcart's discard pile. The lentils simmered, absorbing water, softening into earthy, thick soup. She added salt, a bay leaf saved from Christmas cooking. The aroma was humble but nourishing. No meat, no richness, just legumes becoming sustenance. During World War I, meat disappeared into military supply chains. Immigrant families relied on dried legumes for protein. Lentils cooked faster than beans, making them practical for women working factory shifts, then cooking for families. Lentils with sausage offered richness and satisfaction. Lentils with water offered nutrition and survival. But lentils kept children healthy when meat was impossible. Adaptation feeds bodies when tradition can't. Carmela's plain lentil soup sustained families throughout the Great War. Women traded cooking tips in tenement hallways. Add a ham bone if you can find one. Save pasta water to add body. Toast the lentils first for deeper flavor. After armistice, the soup remained simple, cheap, filling. Every bowl carried a message. War changes everything, including what you feed your children. Survival doesn't need sausage. Necessity boils lentils into sustenance. Number 7. Pizza fredda. Flour, water, yeast, hot oil, fried dough becoming feast. Lucia Romano mixed flour with water and a pinch of saved yeast, kneaded it briefly. Let it rise in her warmest corner. She pinched off egg-sized pieces, stretched them thin by hand. Her cast-iron skillet heated with recycled cooking oil, smoking hot. She dropped the dough in, watched it puff and blister, turn golden brown on both sides. Francesco Romano watched his wife make this on Grand Street. September 1918. Spanish flu closing factories. No work for 3 weeks. Flour was cheap. Oil could be reused. These fried dough pieces fed their family when everything else failed. During the 1918 pandemic, families needed foods that stretched limited ingredients. Fried dough provided calories and comfort from minimal investment. This dish appeared across Little Italy as illness and unemployment devastated the neighborhood. Dough hitting hot oil, puffing instantly into air pockets. Exterior crisping golden while interior stayed soft. Steam rising, carrying yeasty aroma through tenement halls. Simple transformation, creating something delicious from almost nothing. Lucia's pizza fritta spread through every building. Women fried dough on stoops, shared pieces with neighbors' children. Sometimes they topped it with tomato sauce if they had any, but usually just salt. Fried dough became pandemic comfort food. Hunger disappears with hot fried dough. Poverty tastes better when dough puffs golden. Community shares what little it has. Survival fries flour into temporary joy. Number 8. Pasta e patate. Pasta and potatoes together. Carbohydrates layered on carbohydrates. Potatoes and broken pasta. That's what filled the pot. Francesca Ricci boiled potato chunks until nearly tender. Added broken pasta pieces, whatever shapes were cheapest that week. She let everything cook together in the same starchy water. A drizzle of olive oil if she had it, salt, maybe a piece of Parmesan rind for flavor. The pasta absorbed potato flavor. The potatoes absorbed pasta starch, everything becoming thick, filling ribs. Giuseppe Ricci ate this on Broome Street. April 1919. 7 people in 3 rooms, his fruit cart barely earning enough. This dish appeared 3-4 times weekly because potatoes and pasta were the cheapest foods per pound. In 1919, post-war inflation made everything expensive. Immigrant families needed maximum calories per penny spent. Combining pasta and potatoes created filling meals that kept working families going despite economic hardship. Boiling together created unity. Starches melding into thick, porridge-like comfort. Simple addition providing double satisfaction from two cheap ingredients. One pot meant less coal burned, saving precious pennies. Giuseppe's pasta e patate spread through every struggling household. Deprecianara recipe before the Depression officially started. Women understood. Pasta and potatoes meant full bellies when meat was a memory. Vegetables were luxury. Survival was daily work. Simplicity sustains. Carbohydrates, comfort. Two cheap ingredients create satisfaction. Survival boils pasta and potatoes into fullness. Would you have combined pasta and potatoes, like the Ritchie family? Or would your pride have refused such humble food? Drop a comment. I want to know how far you'd go. Number 9. Escarole and beans. Before America, escarole sautéed with garlic and anchovies. After tenement life, escarole boiled with beans. Immigration changed every green. May 1920, when Domenico Russo's children showed signs of malnutrition. Settlement house nurse said they needed greens, vitamins, something beyond pasta and bread. Escarole was the cheapest green at the Essex market pushcarts, especially late Saturday when vendors wanted to close. She bought wilted escarole for a penny, brought it home to wash repeatedly. Not the bright, crisp escarole from her mother's garden. Dark, bitter, tough leaves. Poverty made it dinner. Domenica boiled white beans until tender, added the chopped escarole to the pot. The greens wilted into the bean liquid, releasing bitter flavor that mellowed with cooking. She added crushed garlic, olive oil, salt. The bitterness softened. The beans thickened the liquid, creating something nutritious even if it tasted like survival. During the 1920s, Italian immigrant children suffered malnutrition at alarming rates. Doctors and settlement workers urged families to add greens to bean dishes. Escarole provided vitamins and fiber when fresh vegetables seemed impossible to afford. Fresh escarole was mild, slightly sweet, tender. Old escarole was bitter, tough, aggressive on the tongue. But old escarole cost almost nothing and provided nutrients children desperately needed. Survival tastes bitter sometimes, but it sustains life. Domenica's escarole and beans spread through public health campaigns. Settlement houses taught this recipe in Americanization classes. Women resisted at first. It wasn't how they cooked in Italy, but their children's health mattered more than tradition. Every bowl carried a message. Pride bends when children suffer. Culture adapts to save the next generation. Bitterness feeds better than nothing. Number 10. Bread and tomatoes. Stale bread soaked in tomato liquid. Nothing more. Salvatore Gallo poured dialed bread into a bowl, opened a tin of tomatoes, poured the liquid over the bread. He let it soak until soft, mashed it with a fork into rough paste. A drizzle of olive oil, pinch of salt, raw garlic rubbed on the bowl. He ate it cold, standing at his tenement window, watching the street below. Maria Gallo watched her husband eat this lunch every day. June 1921. His construction work meant no time for cooked meals, no money for restaurants. This bread and tomato mash filled his stomach during 12-hour shifts. In 1921, working-class men needed portable, cheap lunches. Bread and canned tomatoes provided calories and some nutrition without requiring cooking or refrigeration. This combination meant workers could eat without losing wages. Bread absorbing tomato liquid, swelling soft. Oil adding richness to plain starch. Garlic providing sharp flavor that woke tired taste buds. Simple assembly creating lunch from pantry staples. Salvatore's bread and tomato mash became standard workers' meal. Construction crews, dock workers, street cleaners, stallion men ate this because it was fast, cheap, filling. No shame in survival food when everyone struggled. Poverty strips meals to essentials. Survival soaks bread until edible. Work demands fuel, not fancy cooking. Necessity mashes tomatoes into sustenance. Number 11. Cicoria ripassata. Dandelion greens boiled twice. Bitter mellowed through repeated cooking. Rosa Napoli gathered dandelion greens from empty lots on Forsyth Street, washing them obsessively to remove city dirt. She boiled them in water, drained them, boiled them again in fresh water. Only then did she squeeze them dry, salt them in garlic and oil. The double boiling pulled out harsh bitterness, leaving earthy, slightly bitter greens. Antonio Napoli watched his wife make this in July 1922. Their garden in Campania grew cultivated chicory. New York grew only weeds in vacant lots. But free food was food, and bitter greens were better than no greens. During the 1920s, immigrant families foraged in urban spaces. Dandelions grew everywhere, cost nothing, provided vitamins and iron. Double boiling made them edible, transforming wild bitterness into nutritious side dish. Water pulling out intense bitterness, greens turning from aggressive to manageable. Garlic and oil adding familiar comfort to foraged food. Simple technique civilizing wild plants into dinner. Roses twice-boiled dandelions spread through foraging families. Women taught daughters which greens were safe, how to wash them, how to cook them. Free food became tradition. Children grew up thinking dandelions were Italian food. Wild becomes edible through persistence. Bitterness mellows with patience. Free food sustains when money fails. Survival boils weeds into nutrition. Number 12. Pasta with breadcrumbs. Before immigration, pasta with cheese and butter. After tenement poverty, pasta with fried breadcrumbs. America replaced cheese with crumbs. October 1923, when Lucia Marino's family couldn't afford cheese for months. Parmesan cost too much. Even the rinds were luxurious, but she had stale bread, and fried breadcrumbs could mimic cheese's salty, toasted richness, not the same, but close enough to satisfy. She tore stale bread into crumbs, fried them in olive oil until golden and crispy. Not real Parmesan aged for months. Toasted crumbs from yesterday's loaf. Necessity created substitution. Lucia tossed hot pasta with the fried breadcrumbs, letting them coat every strand. The crumbs absorbed residual pasta water, stuck to the surface, creating texture and flavor. She added garlic, pepper, maybe a handful of parsley from her windowsill. The crumbs tasted nutty, salty, almost cheesy from the toasting. During the 1920s, cheese was expensive luxury for immigrant families. Breadcrumbs provided textural interest and toasted flavor that partially replaced missing cheese. This adaptation allowed families to eat pasta in familiar ways despite poverty. Real Parmesan was sharp, salty, umami-rich. Breadcrumbs were crunchy, toasted, merely salty. But breadcrumbs cost nothing and made pasta feel special. Substitution feeds better than deprivation. Lucia's breadcrumb pasta spread through every cash-strapped household. Sicilian families especially embraced this. It reminded them of pasta con malika from home, but sadder, more desperate. After the Depression hit, everyone ate pasta this way. Every bite carried a message. Substitution preserves dignity. Poverty finds ways to maintain tradition. Survival toasts breadcrumbs into almost cheese. Number 13. Minestrone. Vegetable soup from whatever the pushcarts sold cheap at closing time. Carla Rousseau waited at Essex Market until Saturday evening, when vendors wanted to go home. She bought bruised tomatoes, limp celery, cabbage leaves, carrots with soft spots, everything half price, because it wouldn't last until Monday. She carried her haul up 5 flights to her tenement kitchen. Sunday morning, she made minestrone, chopping every vegetable small, boiling them with water, a ham bone if she saved one, dried beans for protein. Each pot was different because each week offered different vegetables. Zucchini in summer, cabbage in winter, whatever was cheap became soup. In 1924, pushcart vendors sold produce at steep discounts late Saturday. Immigrant women built meals around these bargains. Minestrone meant using every cheap vegetable, wasting nothing, creating nutrition from near garbage. Vegetables softening into broth, beans thickening the liquid, every flavor melding into unified whole. Transformation of individual ingredients into communal dish. One pot feeding 6 people. Carla's minestrone spread through every thrifty household. Women knew which pushcarts discounted earliest, which vendors were generous with damaged goods. Soup became Saturday night tradition. Whatever vegetables were cheap went into the pot. Waste becomes sustenance through cooking. Poverty shops, smart. Cooks creative. Community soup feeds everyone from almost nothing. Survival boils scraps into nourishment. Number 14. Fried peppers and eggs. Peppers and eggs. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Maria Colombo, sliced green peppers, the cheapest variety at the market stand. fried them in olive oil until soft and blistered. She cracked 4 eggs over the peppers, scrambled everything together in the pan. Salt, pepper, nothing fancy. The eggs bound with the peppers, creating filling, protein-rich meal that cost pennies. Giuseppe Colombo ate this 3 times a week. December 1925. His factory wages barely covered rent. Peppers stayed fresh longer than tomatoes, cost less than meat. Eggs were protein when chicken was fantasy. This dish appeared whenever money was tightest. In 1925, eggs and peppers provided cheap, complete nutrition. This combination appeared across Mediterranean immigrant communities: Greeks, Italians, Spaniards all, feeding families on similar poverty foods. Peppers blistering in hot oil, releasing sweet char. Eggs scrambling into soft curds, clinging to pepper strips. Simple cooking creating satisfying texture contrast. Fast meal for working families. Giuseppe's peppers and eggs became standard poor family breakfast. Children grew up thinking this was normal morning food. Quick, cheap, filling it. Checked every survival box. Simplicity feeds. Poverty scrambles eggs with whatever's affordable. Survival fries peppers into protein. Would you eat peppers and eggs 3 times weekly? Comment below. I'm reading all of them. Number 15. Pasta e ceci. Pasta and chickpeas. Roman poverty food transplanted to New York. Chickpeas and broken pasta. That's what the pot held. Elena Rizzo soaked chickpeas overnight, boiled them until tender. She added broken pasta pieces, a rosemary sprig from her window box, olive oil, salt. The chickpeas and pasta cooked together, starches combining into thick, porridge-like consistency. Sometimes she mashed some chickpeas to thicken it further. Carlo Rizzo ate this on Mott Street, March 1926. 9 people in 4 rooms, his barber shop barely earning. This dish appeared twice weekly because chickpeas were filling, pasta was cheap, and together they created complete protein. During the 1920s, nutritionists taught immigrant families about protein complementation. Beans and grains together created complete nutrition without expensive meat. Pasta e ceci became healthy poverty food. Chickpeas breaking down, releasing starch. Pasta absorbing flavored liquid. 2. Starches becoming creamy, unified dish. Rosemary adding familiar, comforting aroma. Carlo's pasta e ceci spread through health-conscious families. Settlement houses taught this recipe as nutritious, economical meal. Roman immigrants recognized it from home, but now it was American survival food too. Every bowl carried a message. Science justifies tradition. Poverty can be nutritious. 2 ingredients complete each other. Number 16. Frittata di pasta. Leftover pasta fried into crispy. Cake nothing wasted. Anna Vitali gathered yesterday's pasta, whatever type, whatever sauce, didn't matter. She beat eggs, mixed in the cold pasta, poured everything into a hot, oiled pan. She fried it like a pancake, flipping carefully until both sides were golden and crispy. The egg held the pasta together, creating portable meal. Francesco Vitali carried frittata wedges to his construction job. September 1927. No time for lunch breaks, no money for food carts. Cold frittata in his pocket meant he could eat while working. Leftover pasta transformed into portable sustenance. In 1927, working men needed portable, cheap lunches. Frittata di pasta used leftovers and eggs to create food that traveled well without refrigeration. This innovation meant wives could feed working husbands without wasting anything. Eggs binding pasta into solid mass. Heat creating crispy exterior while keeping interior soft. Cold frittata holding shape, surviving pocket travel. Practical innovation from necessity. Anna's pasta frittata spread through working-class families citywide. Every Italian wife learned this trick. Leftover pasta never got thrown away. It became tomorrow's lunch. Depression made this technique essential survival skill. Leftovers become new meals. Waste transforms into lunch. Poverty fries yesterday's dinner into today's sustenance. Survival never throws pasta away. Number 17. Panzanella. Bread salad. Stale bread becoming summer meal. Stale bread and tomatoes. Simplicity defining summer. Carmela Rossi tore stale bread into chunks, soaked it in water, squeezed it dry. She tossed it with chopped tomatoes, onion, basil from her windowsill, olive oil, vinegar if she had it, salt. The bread absorbed tomato juice, softened but kept texture, created salad from what Americans threw away. Antonio Rossi ate this for lunch every summer day, August 1928. Too hot to cook, too poor for cold cuts. This bread salad cost almost nothing, used stale bread before it molded, satisfied hunger without heating the tenement. During summer months, tenements became unbearable ovens. Families sought no-cook meals. Panzanella used pantry staples and cheap tomatoes without requiring fire. Heat made this practical necessity. Bread absorbing tomato juice, rehydrating with flavor. Onions adding sharp bite. Basil contributing fresh aroma. Simple assembly creating refreshing meal from humble ingredients. Carmela's panzanella spread through every hot tenement kitchen. Women made it differently. Some added cucumbers, others peppers, whatever vegetables were cheap. No cook's summer survival strategy. Heat demands cold food. Poverty soaks stale bread into salad. Survival never wastes, only transforms. Tomatoes resurrect yesterday's bread. Number 18. Pasta al burro. Pasta with butter. When butter existed. Before poverty, pasta with rich meat sauce. After hard times, pasta with a little butter. Depression stripped everything to essentials. November 1929, when Lucia Moreno's husband lost his factory job. Stock market crash rippled through working families fast. Meat disappeared first, then cheese, then vegetables. What remained was pasta, and sometimes, rarely, butter. She scraped butter across the bottom of her pan, maybe a tablespoon for 6 people. Not the generous amounts from before. A careful, precious coating. Necessity measured butter in fractions. Lucia tossed hot pasta in the minimal butter, letting it melt and coat each strand. She added pasta water to stretch the butter into sauce. Salt, black pepper, nothing else. The butter created slippery richness. The starch made it cling. Together they approximated satisfaction. During the early Depression, even butter became luxury. This dish represented the descent into poverty, from meat sauce to butter, from butter to just salt, from food to hunger. Pasta al burro marked the middle stage of economic collapse. Rich butter sauce was indulgent, satisfying, plenty. This butter coating was survival, barely enough, ghost of better times. But butter made pasta edible when nothing else remained. Minimal luxury beats plain starvation. Lucia's barely buttered pasta spread through Depression households. Every family understood you used what you had, stretched it impossibly far, pretended it was enough. Butter became memory of prosperity. Every bite carried a message. Poverty measures butter in teaspoons. Depression strips meals to bones. Survival stretches tiny butter into ghost of sauce. Number 19. Braccioli, without meat. Cabbage leaves rolled like meat. Braccioli substitution, maintaining tradition. Before Depression, thin beef pounded flat, rolled with filling. After 1930, cabbage leaves doing the same job. Collapse rewrote every traditional recipe. April 1930, when Rosa Bruno hadn't bought meat in 3 months. Her children asked for braccioli, a signature dish, Sunday tradition, family identity. She couldn't give them beef, but she could give them the shape, the method, the memory. She boiled cabbage leaves until pliable, laid them flat. Not thin beef cutlets. Bitter green leaves. Desperation created innovation. Rosa spread breadcrumb filling on each leaf, garlic parsley, a grating of saved parmesan if she had any. She rolled them tight, tied them with thread, simmered them in tomato sauce made from canned tomatoes. The cabbage absorbed sauce. The filling stayed together, creating something that looked almost like braccioli. During the Depression's worst years, families maintained cultural traditions through substitution. Meat braccioli was too expensive, but cabbage rolls preserved the ritual, the gathering, the sense of continuity. Food as cultural survival. Real braccioli was tender, meaty, rich with flavor. Cabbage braccioli was vegetable, bitter, trying hard. But cabbage kept tradition alive when tradition should have died. Substitution preserves culture when authenticity becomes impossible. Rosa's cabbage braccioli spread through desperate families. Women understood you, gave your children the closest thing possible. You maintained rituals with whatever you had. Depression couldn't take everything if you refused to surrender. Every roll carried a message. Tradition adapts or dies. Culture survives through creativity. Survival rolls, cabbage leaves, into memory of meat. Number 20. Pasta with oil and garlic again. Spaghetti, garlic, oil. The same three ingredients, different desperation. Maria Conti made this nightly. December 1931. Her husband's relief check bought pasta, garlic, oil oil's nothing else every night, the same dinner. Children stopped complaining because there was no alternative. This wasn't cuisine anymore. This was existence. She went through the motions automatic. Boil water, add pasta, drain, heat oil, fry, garlic, toss pasta, salt if the box wasn't empty. Same movements, same smells, same taste, every single night. In 1931, relief programs provided basic staples. Many families ate identical meals for months because that's what they could afford. Uglio, Eolio, evolved from occasional poverty meal to daily monotony. Survival without variation. The garlic still sizzled, the oil still coated, the pasta still filled stomachs, but repetition killed joy. Same dish every night erased pleasure from eating. Survival became mechanical necessity. Maria's nightly routine mirrored thousands of families. Everyone ate the same few things repeatedly. Depression turned food into fuel, stripped away joy, reduced eating to biological requirement. Variety dies in poverty. Survival repeats the same meal endlessly. Monotony breaks spirits while filling stomachs. Necessity transforms food into tasteless duty. If you've watched this far, you understand survival differently now. Hit subscribe, these stories matter. Number 21. Lentils with nothing. Lentils boiled in water, salt if you're lucky, lentils and water. That was the pot's entire contents. Francesca Rizzo boiled lentils in plain water, February 1932. No vegetables, no meat, no oil, no flavor beyond the legumes themselves. She added salt from the relief box. That was dinner every night for 2 weeks, when nothing else existed. Her children ate silently. They knew complaining meant hunger, because there was nothing to complain. Toward these lentils was survival stripped to absolute minimum. Life at the bottom of the depression. In 1932, many families ate single ingredients repeatedly. Lentils provided protein and calories cheaply. Plain lentils meant surviving another day. No pleasure, no culture, no tradition, just biological sustenance. Lentils softening in water. No transformation, no alchemy, no magic. Just legumes becoming edible. Survival without dignity, necessity without joy. Francesca's plain lentils represented thousands of families' reality. This wasn't food anyone shared recipes for. This was what happened when everything disappeared. Silence around the table said everything. Poverty strips food to survival. Depression erases culture from eating. Hunger makes anything edible. Necessity boils lentils into life, nothing more. Number 22. Bread and water. Stale bread soaked in water. Nothing else exists. Giuseppe Vitali tore bread into a bowl. March 1933. No tomatoes, no oil, no salt. Just bread and water. He so soaked until soft, ate it with a spoon. This kept him alive for 3 days, when the relief check didn't come. His children were at a church feeding program. His wife foraged dandelions. He stayed home, too weak from hunger to look for work. This bread and water was survival at its most elemental. In 1933, at the Depression's nadir, some families experienced complete resource collapse. Bread and water meant staying alive until aid arrived. This wasn't food, this was biological minimum. Bread absorbing water, swelling soft, nothing more. No flavor, no nutrition beyond starch. Survival reduced to simplest possible form. Giuseppe's experience wasn't unique. Thousands faced similar desperation. No one spoke about it afterward. Shame silenced these memories. This was the bottom. Survival sometimes means nothing but bread and water. Poverty can erase everything. Hunger makes soaked bread acceptable. Desperation has no dignity. Number 23. Community soup. Whatever everyone brought, cooked together in tenement basement. Tenement communities pooled resources. Spring 1934. One family brought carrots, another onions, someone else beans, another pasta. Everything went into one huge pot in the basement. Shared cooking, shared eating, survival through cooperation. Each family contributed what they could. Some brought only water, others brought salt, A few brought actual food. No judgment, no shimony, understanding that together they might all eat. In 1934, mutual aid networks sustained neighborhoods. Community soup meant no one starved alone. Pooling minimal resources created meals no single family could manage. Cooperation as survival strategy. Different ingredients becoming unified soup. Many contributing, all eating. Community sustaining itself through collective action. Survival beyond individual capacity. Community soup spread through every poor neighborhood. Irish, Italian, Jewish, Polish poverty erased ethnic boundaries. Hunger united everyone. Shared cooking created temporary abundance from collective poverty. Survival transcends individual effort. Community multiplies minimal resources. Together we eat when alone we starve. Cooperation boils nothing into something. Number 24. Pasta e fagioli. Gain, beans and pasta. The same dish from the beginning, but different now. Before, humble poverty meal. Now, luxury compared to what came between. Perspective rewrites every recipe. June 1935, when Maria Rousseau made pasta e fagioli, again the same dish from 1911, but now it felt rich. Beans and pasta in the same pot seemed generous. After years of single ingredients, this combination was feast. Her children remembered when this dish felt like poverty. Now they understood it was sustenance. The Depression taught them the difference between poor and destitute. This pasta e fagioli was poor, but they'd survived destitute. By 1935, the Depression's worst was passing. Families recovered slowly, regaining ground. Foods that once symbolized poverty now represented recovery. Context changes everything. Same beans, same pasta, different meaning. Survival rewrites memory. Return to poverty meals feels like prosperity after experiencing true hunger. Maria's family ate pasta e fagioli gratefully now. What she served in shame 1911 became celebration in 1935. They survived. This meal proved it. Every bowl carried new message. Perspective transforms poverty into gratitude. Survival changes what food means. Recovery tastes like the meals you once resisted. Number 25. Sunday gravy finally. After years of nothing, finally something like home again. Before the Depression, Sunday tradition. During the Depression, impossible dream. After surviving, resurrection of cultural identity through food. December 1936, when Rosa Conti finally bought meat again. Small amount, cheaper cuts, but meat. She simmered it in tomatoes all day, the smell filling her tenement. Announcing to neighbors that her family had survived, recovered, returned. Her children cried, tasting it. Not because it was delicious, because it meant the suffering had ended. Sunday gravy represented more than nutrition. It meant they had made it through alive, family intact, culture preserved. By late 1936, many immigrant families began recovering. Sunday gravy's return symbolized survival. Making traditional meals again meant reclaiming cultural identity that poverty had nearly erased. Meat simmering in tomatoes. Aromas returning after years of absence. Tastes bringing memories of Beftine's food, restoring cultural identity alongside nutrition. Rosa's Sunday gravy announced recovery to her community. Other families began making traditional meals again too. Culture re-emerged as poverty loosened its grip. Survival meant preserving who you were, despite everything trying to erase you. Every bite carried message of triumph. We survived. Our culture survived. Hunger didn't break us. Sunday gravy proves we're still here, still Italian, still family.